All right, now I did want to introduce our course in D2L and just talk a little bit about this. So obviously there's a course home, and this is where I'll post some news, but I think I'm going to post most things in remind.com and just push them out to you each week. Probably have an intro announcement each week and then just go from there with different announcements and things. And then there's some more course info here, but really the meat of the course is the content area. But you can look at it in the calendar, upcoming events, like January 27th, a meaningful learning assignment is due. Those kinds of things are also due. But if we go to content, they will be in here, and all of the assignments will be in this area. So you just pick a week, and this week, of course, starts today, January 8th, and goes through the 13th. And so under this week, you see all the activities that you are asked to do this week. And so you just go through and do the activities. So it says read the syllabus, and that's important. So go ahead and do that, and then you might look at the class wiki. And this week the class wiki is listed here. You can look at the different wiki items on Wikispace's site. Let's see, I actually pull that up real quick, and just kind of see what's there. And it gives you some nice different tools and information that you might want to find. And we'll go back to it during the semester. So you'll take a look at that. There is a discussion called About You, and you're going to tell a little bit about yourself, so be sure to complete this week. There is chapter 1 in the textbook for reading. There is this is an assignment that I'm introducing to you. So though most assignments, if they're listed under a week, they're going to be due that week. This one, though, is due May 5th. So it's a long ways away, but I want you to know about it first so that you can start to prepare for it, and you can sign up for a time to do your Tech Talk assignment. And so that's there, and then there's website software and apps that could be used for the Tech Talk assignment, the intentional Tech Talk sign-up sheet, and then there's some information on creating an online presentation that you might need to use in order to do your Tech Talk assignment. So all these things have to do with the Tech Talk from this assignment on out. And there's an example tech integration recipe sheet, which I have included as well for a sample, the kind of sheet that you might make for your Tech Talk assignment. So this one's Pull Everywhere. And it just kind of creates a nice little sheet to show. It's kind of a sheet that helps somebody to use this assignment. So for D2L anyway, and for the content in D2L, you just kind of basically go through each item listed under that week and make sure you complete them all by the last date listed in that week, which is always a Saturday. So finish it by the end of the Saturday that ends the week. In this case, it's January 13th. So finish all these activities by then. And then if we look up next week, January 15th through the 20th, again, you're going to go through, you're going to look at this Meaningful Learning Framework intro. You're going to read Chapter 8 and more, it says. So there's a few other things that you might read. There's this Meaningful Learning and Modeling article, and then Chapter 8. There are some presentations on the different aspects of meaningful learning, and then there's a discussion. And all of those will need to start on January 15th and then be completed by the 20th of January. That's how the class works. And then if you look ahead a little bit more, there's a major assignment due January 27th. That's the first big assignment, meaningful learning assignment, that is due then, and you'll complete that by the end of January 27th. That's when it's due. So that's kind of how it works in D2L. But for this week, let me just introduce to you a few of the things. So I already mentioned that you're going to do a discussion and then read chapter 1. And then the last part of the week is just basically to get ready for the intentional Tech Talk and integration recipe. So if you click on this assignment, you can get the information with this information sheet that I have attached on what the assignment entails. But for those of you who are familiar with Tech Talk assignments, it's very much similar to that, except in this class there's a recipe sheet, so to speak. And now, so I'll mention that and talk about that. But anyway, yeah, you're going to learn about a specific technology tool or resource that's relevant and useful for education. And you'll do two things with it. You'll present about it in class, and meaning that you will create a recording of it that can be shared with the class. and create a tech recipe sheet about it. Now, what we mean by recipe sheet, if you think about a recipe, it's kind of a set of directions for creating something, right? So that's what this is going to be. It's kind of a set of directions for using this tool, or a set of basically quick guidelines to help someone get started using the tool. So here's what your presentation should include. The presentation should introduce the tool or technology, should give a brief how-to presentation showing how to use it. And you do need to know the technology pretty well for this to happen. It will show a realistic example of how the tool or technology could be used in education, and tell whether you think you would use it in your own classroom and why or why not. And then only 5 to 7 minutes for presentation length, so you have to be prepared. And then the tech recipe sheet would include the following. That includes a title with the name of the technology, tool, or resource, a subtitle that shares what it can do, a picture or screenshot of it, and steps for 2 to 3 things that teachers could choose to do with the technology, tool, or resource in order to support student learning. So it's going to give some steps for those things. And then there's a rubric here, that tells about the presentation and the sheet itself, and does it include these items and are they adequate, basically, is what this looks at. So that's what's going on there for the intentional tech talk and integration recipe. Now, in order to choose a tool or technology, there is this list that I've done. It's based on a survey that I send out to teachers in South Dakota. And so there's a list of different things that teachers use. You might be able to choose one of these items from the list. I'd say that maybe not all the things that are in this list are relevant, but that can kind of be a starting point. Maybe there's something that you already know about or are familiar with but want to learn more about. This is a great opportunity to look into those kinds of things. Maybe there's something you've heard about from your colleagues and haven't had a chance to look into it a little bit more. So this is a chance to look into it and become somewhat of an expert on it. And then down here is the sign up sheet. So you're going to sign up for a week to do this, and basically put your name in on a week, and then put the tool resource and the tool resource link to the website for it. And that's what you're going to do. So I see that we have a couple people already signed up, which is great. And it says here, sign up only one person per week. Complete and submit this assignment by the end of the week you signed up for. So if you signed up for, let's say, February 5th through the 10th, you'll want to make sure that the assignment is complete and submitted to me in the Dropbox in D2L by February 10th, so that you're on time with that one. And then I'll take the videos that you send me. You're going to upload a video to me, and also the recipe itself, and I'll add a link to those so that everybody can see them once you're done with your assignment, so that we can all learn from each other on these Tech Talk items. So that's the Tech Talk assignment. The only other thing that it has is maybe there's some instruction from my other textbook that I wrote about just how to create, a nice recorded presentation. And then there is an example integration recipe sheet. So this gives a few, so it's got the tool name here. It shows what it does in the subtitle. And then it kind of lists some of the things that it can do, different types of questions that you can ask with Poll Everywhere. And then there are a few steps, right? There's some steps for what you can do. Sign up, create a poll, students respond. And it lists kind of what Poll Everywhere does. So it's a nice little sheet that helps somebody to get started with this tool if they wanted to. So that's the Tech Talk and integration recipe assignment. And I believe that's all I'm going to send you for this week. Next week, we'll get started on the Meaningful Learning Framework.